Right after being reborn, the very first thing I did was search a foul sewer to find a massive, thick leech. I swallowed it whole without hesitating, even though it was thrashing wildly down my throat. I fought back the urge to gag and forced it down. The gamma ray apocalypse is coming, and everyone awakens the traits of the last animal they devoured. One guy ate a crocodile leather belt and mutated into a 100-meter giant beast that swallowed everything, while someone else ate fried chicken wings and unlocked a legendary phoenix bloodline soaring high in the heavens. In my past life, I ate dried rat meat and became a filthy rodent that everyone hunted down only to get crushed flat by a giant monster. But now that I am reborn, I have the Infinite Devour System. The stronger the beast I eat, the more power I absorb. This mutated leech from my past life will soon become an all-devouring terror. Right now, I am staring at the glass terrarium sitting in front of me, holding a thick, blood-red leech. Its plump body squirms around like a fat maggot. Eating this will make me stronger. There is no time to hesitate. Just do it. I resolved to do it, rolled up my sleeve, and reached into the glass box to grab the parasite. But the writhing creature kept twisting out of my grip and sank its teeth right into my finger. The bloody water inside the container grew darker. Tasting my fresh blood, the mutated parasite became completely wild with excitement. Angered by this, I lost my temper, ripped the leech out of the water, and bit it in half, swallowing it whole. Suddenly a prompt echoed. Congratulations, host, you have consumed the mutated leech. Gene sequence extraction is successful. New sequence acquired. Let us see what this ability can do. Instantly, a strange tingling sensation shot through my hand. I looked down to see the raw wound where my flesh was torn away, now covered in countless tiny blood-red threads. Within 2 seconds, the wound was sealed, and brand new skin grew over it. That is actual limb regeneration. Along with that, a massive wave of raw power surged through my veins like infinite energy. I walked over to a mirror and stared closely at my reflection, completely frozen in shock. My original height of 1.7 meters had shot up to 1.9 meters. My black hair was now long and crimson, and my eyes had shifted to a piercing bloody red. Up close, they looked absolutely demonic. After inspecting my physical form more closely, I realized my right palm now had a gaping abyss-like mouth, staring back at me, bristling with tiny razor-sharp fangs, just like the mutated leech. It can drain my enemies dry, but this bizarre mutation worried me. The dark chaos has not even begun yet. I cannot walk around looking like a monster. The moment that thought crossed my mind, my crimson hair shifted back to black, and the mouth on my palm vanished. I was stunned by this incredible control. With less than 2 days before the dark chaos erupts, I still have 2 devouring chances left. I must find stronger prey. I recall a wealthy recluse in Daru City who owns a rare electric eel. Once the apocalypse starts, that creature will transform into a mutant beast capable of discharging deadly lightning. If I consume it, my gene recombination could unlock incredibly powerful abilities. But with my current status reaching, this billionaire is impossible. Fortunately, his daughter happens to be a student at Tsinghua University. I prepped myself and headed straight to the campus. I soon reached a desolate park nearby. Yan Xiaotian, the wealthy heiress, lives very modestly to conceal her true identity as a privileged child of wealth. She walks through here every day after class before her ride picks her up. Reaching the park, I spotted her striking figure standing nearby the girl, radiating an aloof aura that warned others to keep their distance. Right then, a Rolls-Royce pulled up, and 3 burly bodyguards stepped out of the vehicle and opened her door with deep respect. Seeing her prepare to leave, I stepped out from the shadows, smiled, and calmly addressed the guards. I am here for the gorgeous girl. Actually, no, this is a kidnapping. Yan Xiaotian remained perfectly composed. They did not seem to take my threat seriously at all, as those bodyguards were elite, highly trained military veterans who survived rigorous screening to protect her. Without wasting a single moment, their leader lunged straight at me. I dodged and threw an effortless punch. The man's face contorted in agony. Before he could even shriek, he was launched 5 meters back, crashing into a nearby tree and losing consciousness instantly. Yan Xiaotian stared in utter disbelief, while the remaining 2 guards froze mid-attack, their minds completely blown. What the hell? Hurling a grown man 5 meters with a single blow, is he even human? Frankly, I was shocked myself. I never expected such power. I stepped toward the Rolls-Royce and gave it a casual test kick. With a heavy thud, the heavy vehicle handbrake fully engaged, skidded back over 3 meters. The entire passenger door caved in, utterly ruined. The entire park fell deathly quiet. Yan Xiaotian stood frozen pale with terror while her 2 remaining bodyguards shook with fear and collapsed onto the grass. Disregarding them, I strode directly up to the trembling heiress. She stammered nervously, asking if I wanted money or her body. I told her, call your father, Yan Nanji. Tell him to deliver his rare electric eel right here. I get the eel, you go free. Yan Xiaotian frowned deeply, completely baffled by the bizarre situation. This madman abducted a billionaire's daughter just to steal a pet fish from her father's private collection. But this danger was very real. She quickly pulled out her phone, called her father, and hurriedly explained her captivity along with my bizarre demand. Meanwhile, at the exact same moment in the high-rise offices of Tianshan Group, a stern middle-aged tycoon took the call and instantly stiffened as if facing a mortal threat. This is outrageous. Who in Daru City dares lay a single hand on my daughter, contact the military immediately, and demand they deploy their elite forces for backup? Move now. Also summon the city's finest trauma surgeons with their absolute best equipment. Have them stand by at the coordinates prepared to handle any crisis. I am heading there myself. After issuing his orders, the frantic father instructed his driver to rush home and retrieve the rare electric eel. I did what you wanted. My dad will arrive in 30 minutes. I gave a slow nod, thought for a moment, and said, a massive aurora will soon blanket the earth. Animals will mutate into terrifying beasts. The global order will break down entirely, and human civilization will plunge into unprecedented chaos. That harmless electric eel will transform into a lethal monster. If you do not destroy it, your entire family will meet a brutal, painful end. Believe me or not, I am not stealing from you. In exchange for the beast, I am giving you this vital survival warning. We both win here. That sounded completely insane to her. Yan Xiaotian did not say a word, just staring at me like I was an idiot before shaking her head. I did not waste any time. As I spoke, I sliced a deep gash into my left hand. Blood-red threads instantly laced across my fingers, healing the skin back to normal. The two bodyguards watching from a distance felt their scalps tingle with fear. Yan Xiaotian froze, completely shell-shocked. Your family has businesses all over Daru City, I said. Once the dark chaos arrives, every resource will become impossibly scarce. If you trust me, choose to follow my lead. I can help you survive. After all, even spirit beast warriors need to eat, drink, and relieve themselves, and I am no exception. In times like this, fighting alone is never the best move. In a chaotic world, making allies is essential. The An family is obviously a great choice. Partnering up is a win-win. I get it, she replied. I will explain everything to my father and discuss it properly with him. I will give you an answer as soon as possible. Right then, the wail of sirens echoed from far, far away. A convoy of armored vehicles ground to a halt right in front of us. A middle-aged man climbed out and rushed over. Seeing the wrecked Rolls-Royce, Yan Anji's heart instantly sank. Seeing Yan Xiaotian was completely unharmed, he let out a massive sigh of relief. I glanced at the heavily armed military personnel, then smiled and spoke to Yan Nanji, casually, completely unbothered. Boss Yan, did you bring what I asked for? Yan Nanji froze in shock, never expecting the person who took his daughter to be so young. Here is what you wanted, Yan Xiaotian said, throwing a heavy suitcase over. I caught the case, opened it, and saw an entirely blue electric eel inside. It reeked of a foul, salty ocean stench. Without a moment of hesitation, I grabbed the live eel and tore into it, biting and chewing. Yan Nanji stood there, completely dumbfounded by the sight. What on earth was happening? The soldiers were equally stunned, wondering if they had just cornered a psychopath. Once I finished devouring the eel, my skin began sparking with live electric currents. Yan Nanji gasped aloud at the spectacle. The shock from that eel is powerful enough to instantly kill a medium-sized wild dog, he stammered. Congratulations, host. You have successfully devoured the rare electric eel. Gene sequence extraction complete. With a single thought, my short black hair instantly grew into long crimson locks, and my dark pupils flashed a brilliant, fiery red. Raising my index finger, I conjured a sphere of condensed blood that detonated in midair. The instant the surrounding soldiers made contact with the scattering droplets, they felt a massive surge of electricity rip through them. They collapsed, instantly knocked out cold. Only Yan Xiaotian and Yan Nanji stood there completely untouched and unharmed. I cast a final glance at the stunned father and daughter before vanishing silently into the shadows. With less than 24 hours until the dark chaos begins, I have one last devouring chance left. I must complete this absorption before the apocalypse hits. That is when I suddenly remembered that the Daru City Zoo supposedly holds a very unique type of eagle. Its plumage is rumored to be as hard as iron, and its screech can pierce concrete. I already have blood armor and command lightning, meaning I only lack one crucial ability, a way to fly. At dawn, I rushed straight to the Daru City #1 zoo. Reaching the enclosure of that rare falcon, I froze in absolute shock. The beast had already mutated. Its jet-black feathers resembled razor-sharp blades, reflecting a deadly icy sheen, and its eyes had narrowed into the vertical slits of a venomous snake. It was furiously hammering its razor-sharp beak against the iron bars, tearing through the cage in seconds. Once free, it launched straight toward me. My eyes narrowed sharply. In my eyes, the swooping beast seemed to slow down to an absolute crawl. In a fraction of a second, I snatched the bird by its neck, tearing into its flesh with savage bites. Congratulations, host. You have successfully devoured the mutated falcon. Gene sequence extraction complete. With a single thought, a pair of massive 6-meter black wings sprouted from my back. I immediately launched myself high into the air and soared into the clouds. Suddenly my phone buzzed. Yan Xiaotian's trembling, panicked voice sounded on the line crying, "Mubai, something terrible has happened. These humanoid monsters just broke in. Can you please come?" Her voice shook violently. She was totally terrified and lost. I immediately agreed and set off immediately. Guided by the address she gave me, I quickly neared a massive food warehouse. The facility was currently holding a massive stockpile of supplies, mostly long-term processed foods. 2 guys with grotesque mutated faces were looking at the stash in absolute ecstasy. "Big brother, you really are the smart one. First, we secure this entire warehouse. We will never have to worry about food again." A bloated, obese guy with a grotesque pig nose bellowed. Beside him, a towering 3-meter-tall brute roared with laughter. "To think we actually got the power of beast transformation, we truly are the chosen ones. Blessed by heaven. Now we can do whatever we want." Grinning, the horned brute approached Yan Xiaotian, his eyes gleaming as he rubbed his hands together, and sneered, "Big brother, she is a premium prize, absolutely gorgeous." The pig-faced mutant snickered right along. Hearing their filthy, suggestive banter, young Xiaotian's face drained of color. Yan Nanji quickly shielded her behind his back, his brow furrowed in anger. He was just about to speak when suddenly the warehouse roof shattered as a massive hole was punched through. Crashing down like a blazing meteor, I landed inside. Seeing me, Yan Xiaotian let out a long sigh of relief. The horned brute and the pig-nosed man scowled, caught off guard. They never expected to encounter another awakened human. "Hey kid, I am warning you, mind your own business or else." I had zero intention of wasting my breath on these 2 trash-tier mutants. I simply unleashed a brutal slap straight across their faces. 2 resounding cracks echoed, and the entire room fell dead silent. The terrified, huddled workers stared blankly at the 2 beasts who had been flattened with a single blow. Walking over to the father and daughter, I noticed Yan Nanji still warily shielding his girl. "So have you made up your mind about my proposal?" He hesitated for a long moment before asking, "Young man, what if we choose not to partner with you? Will you eat us?" "I have absolutely no interest in eating humans. The apocalypse is arriving soon, so what are your plans?" Once they realized I was not a cannibal, everyone let out a massive sigh of relief. "If it were not for you, Mubai, we would be dead. What should we do next? We will follow your lead." You are as he stared at me intensely. In his eyes, I was their ultimate savior. Clinging to a powerful backer like me was clearly their best bet. The dark chaos was about to, and soon all existing order will collapse. By then, finding a safe place to build a base is the top priority. Luckily, my villa has high security and is built of top-tier construction materials. Yan Nanji said, "Friend Mobe, if you don't mind, come with us." I nodded in agreement. That was exactly my plan. Having raw power isn't enough anymore. Once the dark chaos falls, every kind of supply is going to be incredibly scarce. The environment will completely warp later on. 10,000-year cold waves and 10-year droughts will strike back to back. In times like these, a secure shelter becomes absolutely crucial. After we agreed, I turned my attention back to the workers huddled in the corner. If you want to leave, I won't stop you. Anyone who wants to stay can follow me, but this coming darkness is far more brutal and dangerous than you think. If you choose to follow me, you must obey my orders unconditionally. Everyone yelled in unison, "Understood." I nodded, pleased with their response, and ordered them to start moving the supplies. An hour later, at the Cloudside Mountain Villa, the father and daughter sat on the sofa panting. "Friend Mobe, should we keep hoarding more resources?" "We have so many people now." I replied, "Of course we do, but there is something far more urgent. The first forbidden area is about to appear. Resources inside the forbidden zone are 100 times more precious than normal supplies." Yan Shuodian and Yan Nanji exchanged a look completely clueless about what a forbidden area actually was, but they did not push further. "Mobe, You said if we had not captured that electric eel, we would have suffered a brutal death once the chaos started. Is that true? When Yan Nanji heard my confirmation, he gasped, "If only we had your strength, Mobe, to survive." I explained that once the chaos starts, an aurora will sweep the planet. People will have a chance to awaken as the last animal they ate before it arrived, though the odds are completely random. Hearing this, Yan Nanji and his daughter did not hesitate. They immediately threw a massive pile of ingredients into a pot. I handed them bowls and told them to eat. Dozens of different foods boiled together tasted absolutely horrific, but to become spirit beast warriors, they forced it down. Yan Shuodian asked, "Curiously, is it finished?" I replied, "Yes, it is. Now we wait to see the results when the aurora strikes tomorrow. The first forbidden area is coming too, so you two will be joining me." Morning came quickly. Deep in the black void of space, a strange pale blue aurora suddenly flared up, sweeping across our entire planet at a terrifying speed. This marked the beginning of the dark apocalypse. Bathed in the eerie glow of the aurora, ordinary animals began mutating into horrifying bloodthirsty monsters. Stray dogs grew to over 3 meters tall, their skin tearing open to expose raw flesh. With cold, predatory eyes, they let out a deafening roar and ripped through the dog-catching crews, slaughtering them instantly. Back at my villa, Yan Shotian and her father had been up all night, waiting anxiously. Suddenly, they felt a strange shift. Their bodies began to mutate. A brilliant golden light enveloped Yan Shuotian as a glowing sunflower pattern formed on her forehead, letting her unleash pure golden energy. Meanwhile, Yan Nanji shot up to 3 meters tall. His body exploded with dense muscle, and a pair of long horns burst from his forehead. "Mobe, we actually did it," he bellowed. This incredible, endless power running through me, I feel so light, like I could control the whole world. I warned them the dark turmoil is here. The first forbidden zone will appear any second. Gather the crew and follow me inside. We need those rare resources to boost our strength. Without wasting time, we piled into a large truck and drove off. 2.5 hours later, we reached the entrance. Yananji wanted to send scouts ahead first, but I slammed my foot on the gas and launched the truck straight into the swirling vortex. Nearby, Li Huan Yan Shuodian's obsessive simp watched with a group of his guys, their faces twisted in disbelief. He couldn't believe his eyes. How was a loser like Mobe hanging out with the campus belle of Yan University, and why did he drive into that mysterious vortex? One of his lackeys asked what they should do. Li Huan thought for a second. The boss did order them to investigate this area. If a loser like him drives in and we have superpowers, what the hell are we afraid of? Inside the Forbidden Zone, everything was pitch black. A heavy, suffocating fog surrounded us, and a blood-red sun hung overhead, casting an eerie crimson glow. Suddenly, bone-chilling howls echoed from the deep fog ahead. Everyone in the truck went on high alert. I warned them dark creatures lurk inside, basically like alien beasts. I calmly stepped on the brakes, looked over at Yananji, and told him to take the wheel. I'm going to clear a path for us. Before he could even process my words, I jumped out of the cab. In an instant, a horde of bizarre figures cloaked in dark mist burst out of the fog. They stood over 2 meters tall, and while they looked somewhat human, they were clearly monsters. "This is crazy, Mobe," Yananji yelled. "You're strong, but there are too many of them. I'm coming out to help. Shorty and take the wheel." He reached for the handle, determined to step out, but right then a heavy, dull thud echoed through the air. I simply raised my hand and threw a single slap. The 6 towering dark creatures ahead were instantly pulverized, leaving behind absolutely nothing, not even a drop of blood. Yananji froze mid-action, his hand still on the door handle. "Holy shit," he muttered, completely stunned. "Aren't these supposed to be terrifying monsters?" They got wiped out with one casual slap. Yan Shorian's eyes widened with awe as she stared at my back. Watching me obliterate those creatures with a single slap made her heart skip a beat. I kept walking forward calmly. The monsters in this first zone aren't actually that strong. Plus, since I awakened my powers 3 days early, these beasts are nothing. I don't even need to trigger my beast form to deal with them. Every single shadow monster that dared cross my path got effortlessly crushed into dust by my slaps. From inside the cab, Yananji and his daughter watched me one-shot everything. Their initial utter shock quickly faded into pure numb disbelief. Yananji turned to his daughter with a knowing, mischievous grin. "So what do you think of Mobe?" Yan Shodian's face immediately flushed deep crimson. Hearing that, she snapped, "What kind of nonsense is that? It is not nonsense. You are not a kid anymore. You are old enough to get a boyfriend." "Dad, did you not always say you were against me dating early? I do oppose dating too early, but let us be honest. Mobe is a kid I can trust. He is incredibly strong. Not only that, he is incredibly sensible. He is never arrogant or impatient, and he has a way with words. He is a rare catch." If he becomes my son-in-law, I would be completely fine with that. Yan Shuotian's daughter felt totally helpless. Meanwhile, in the thick fog not far behind the truck, Li Huan and his crew were watching the scene unfold. When they saw me instantly eliminate the dark creature, everyone trembled with fear. Li Huan was so incredibly furious that his teeth were literally chattering. Hulk, that son of a bitch. He actually got superpowers too, and he is even stronger than me. That bastard is dead. Just then, one of his lackeys spoke up. What do we do now? Li Hian exhaled heavily. Listen, no matter how strong this kid is, he is still human at his core, and all humans have their limits. He has been burning energy this entire time. Sooner or later, his strength will give out. Let us tail him, wait until he finds something valuable, and then snatch it. By then, he will be weak. There are 5 of us, so we can definitely take him down. Meanwhile, I kept clearing the path ahead. After I wiped out yet another horde of dark beasts, I glanced back with a cold sneer. My senses far exceed those of ordinary humans now. I knew Li Huan and his lackeys were trailing us, and I knew exactly what they were planning. Half an hour flew by. I lost count of how many monsters I killed. Too bad they are not mutated beasts, so they do not drop any energy crystals. Otherwise, I would have leveled up several times by now. Soon the truck followed me toward a massive stone platform. The structure was carved with complex ancient patterns, glowing with a faint red light as if breathing. Noticing that I had stopped, Yan Xiaotian and his daughter climbed out of the truck to peer at the high platform. They saw piles of glossy black metal emitting a dim, eerie glow. This Jinggang steel is a legendary building material with quality and density far exceeding any material on Blue Star. We will take this back to reinforce the villa. Nanzi did not waste a single second. Upon hearing my order, he opened the truck doors, telling the workers to get down and load up the metal. Meanwhile, hidden in the shadows, Brother Li, that pile of black metal does not look ordinary. Should we make our move? Li Huan was thinking the exact same thing. He nodded, but before he could speak, a loud laugh echoed nearby. 3 men and 2 women stepped boldly out of the thick fog, swaggering forward. You probably do not have any energy left, do you? There is no way you can take on the 5 of us. Right after he scoffed, a blond guy's body swelled up, transforming into a 3-meter-tall mountain of flesh. His face morphed into a hideous pig head. He stepped toward us, each heavy stride making a dull, thudding sound. That pig-faced monster looked terrifying under the blood-red sun, and his aura of oppression was off the charts. Watching this display, I just let out a cold sneer. A pair of massive black wings erupted from my back. An electrified feather shot through the air, leaving a trail of crackling sparks. After a sharp burst of electricity, the massive mountain of flesh collapsed to the ground. His companions froze in absolute shock. A woman with wild alternative hair gasped, "How dare you murder someone?" I let out a soft sigh. The dark times are officially here, and they are crying over a single dead threat. With a gentle flap of my black wings, several more razor-sharp feathers sliced through the cold air. The remaining members of their little squad did not even have time to transform or dodge before a violent current of electricity blasted them into ash instantly. Brother Li, do we still make our move? Everyone turned their eyes toward Li Huan, waiting for his command, but Li Huan stood completely frozen, his eyes wide with absolute terror. Make a move? Are you insane? Look how strong he is, run. Move without waiting another second. Li, I spun around and fled. He had planned to strike once I was exhausted, but who could have guessed I would still be this lethal? Even after killing so many monsters, I could still instantly obliterate my enemies. But just as he took his very first step, a black feather plummeted from the sky, stabbing straight into the dirt, just 3 meters ahead of him. Did I say you could leave? Hearing my freezing voice, Li Huan's entire crew trembled violently. They felt as if the Grim Reaper himself was staring them down. Li Huan shrank back, trembling. Up in the sky, with my huge black wings flapping slowly, I descended like a dark demon lord. The sheer force of my wings swept away the surrounding fog as I landed. Li Hian squinted, absolute panic flashing in his eyes. He knew he was trapped. At that moment, Yan Shuotian and the others finally recovered from their shock. They realized enemies had targeted them, but how had I sensed it? They were spirit beast warriors too, yet had noticed nothing. How did I do it? Was the gap between spirit beast warriors really that massive? What they did not realize was that the gap was very real, and I was nothing like them. I possessed 2 more ancient genes in my body than they did, making my senses incredibly sharp. Ah, Moby, I did not expect you to unlock this ability too. Congrats, man. It is getting late, so I should head home. Let us hang out next time I treat. Did I say you could leave? I found this incredibly amusing. Before my rebirth, when this forbidden zone first appeared, Li Huan was one of the very first to explore it. Using these rare building materials, Gao Menglong built an incredibly secure base. Even if multiple spirit beast warriors teamed up, they could not breach its defenses. Because of that, Li Huan managed to survive comfortably for a long time during the Dark Apocalypse. I never expected this history to repeat itself so closely, but this time, these materials will not end up with Gao Menglong. I have backing. Gao Menglong is my boss. I work for him. Li Huan's face went deathly pale. He hurriedly pulled out his phone and dialed a number, but just as it connected one of my feathers, a hand shot through the air and pierced right through Li Huan's forehead in an instant. There was no stabbing pain like he expected. All he felt was numbness the second the feather pierced him. Starting from his forehead, a powerful electric current spread all over Li Huan's body. His frame went stiff, his eyes filled with disbelief as he died instantly. The remaining men were terrified out of their wits. They screamed and turned to run, but Mobe wasn't giving them that chance. Almost instantly, several feather weapons shot out. They were heavily charged with electricity. Just like Li Huan, they didn't even have time to react before collapsing. Before they hit the ground, a rough, angry roar kept screaming from the phone. It was Cao Menglong's furious voice. "Who the hell dares to touch my people? Who is it?" Even though he didn't know exactly what was happening, hearing those horrific screams let Cao Menglong know his entire squad had just been slaughtered. "Who are you? How dare you touch my men? Whoever you are, you're dead." Mobe remained dead silent, leaving Cao Menglong absolutely fuming with rage. He felt like he was punching a cloud of cotton, totally powerless. "Where are you? Give me your address." After a brief silence, Mobe finally spoke. "Since we have a grudge now, we should settle this properly. I'm in the apartments near 5-Star Garden. Come if you've got the guts. I'll be waiting." "Are you there?" "You don't need to bait me. You're dead. I'll come find you soon." Mobe crushed the phone into pieces, then walked back toward Yan Xiaotian and the others. The group still hadn't snapped out of their shock. They originally thought Mobe had brought them to the Forbidden Zone for help, but Mobe didn't need them at all. "I brought you here, just so you could experience this world in advance. This is what life is like in chaotic times. In this world, being merciful to your enemies is being cruel to yourself and those you care about." Looking at the stunned faces of the father and daughter, Mobe suddenly asked, "I killed every single one of them. Do you think I'm too cruel?" Yan Xiaotian shook his head and replied seriously, "They attacked us first. If we were weaker, our fate would have been far worse." Beside him, Yan Nanji nodded in agreement. Soon the Vajras were loaded onto the truck. Everyone climbed back inside and drove out of the Forbidden Zone. We didn't hit any obstacles, but every now and then, dark creatures emerged from the thick mist. These beasts were like minor mobs in a video game dungeon, constantly respawning. Seeing how Mobe effortlessly one-shot every single beast, Yan Nanji wanted to give it a shot. He dropped into a fighting stance, muscles bulging as his physical size instantly swelled to 3 meters tall, shredding his upper body suit to pieces. A pair of sharp ox horns erupted from his forehead as a warm current surged inside him. He lowered his head and charged straight at a beast. The sharp horn slammed into its body, but Yan Nanji was shocked to see it didn't budge. He was quick, but the dark creature was even faster. It smacked him hard across the face, landing a brutal blow that left Yan Nanji completely stunned. In the driver's seat, Yan Xiaotian watched with his mouth wide open, completely dumbfounded. His own dad had just been slapped by a monster. Mobe wasn't surprised at all. Yan Nanji was a wealthy man who had lived in luxury with 0 combat skills. Plus, he had only just awakened as a spirit beast warrior and hadn't fully adapted to his new power yet. Mobe originally wanted to step in and help him with the beasts, but Yan Nanji turned him down. With his tough, durable physique, Yan Nanji fought by trading blow for blow, slowly wearing the creatures down. By the time he climbed back into the truck, he was gasping for air, bleeding from multiple wounds. He had nearly beaten himself to death. "Young friend Mobe, I am nothing compared to you. I thought this would be easy." "Sorry for making a fool of myself in front of you," Yan Nanji said with a bitter smile. After experiencing the power of these dark creatures firsthand, he truly realized how powerful Mobe was. The youth could easily take on 6 beasts alone and kill them with 1 shot each. Mobe simply smiled and said nothing. Soon the group smoothly exited the Forbidden Zone and returned to the villa. Yan Nanji ordered his workers to unload the cargo and prepare the installation team. "The dark chaos has already begun. The sooner we set up these Vajras and turn the villa into a doomsday fortress, the more secure we will be. We have resources from the Forbidden Zone, so now we must stock up on general supplies." Yan Nanji nodded. "Not just food, we need to gather everything. We need cigarettes, tools, tents, and everything else. The more supplies we have, the better." Yan Nanji was stunned for a second. Then he quickly realized what Mobe meant. In the apocalypse, food is vital. but other resources are just as important. In places like prisons, cigarettes are the ultimate hard currency. With enough cigarettes, you can practically run the place. The same logic applies to this new world. Mobe really thinks of everything. You're always one step ahead of me, Mobe. I want to come with you. Sure, Mobe replied, not turning him down. Gathering a team of workers, they climbed back into the vehicle with Yan Xiaotian and left. Watching the big truck slowly drive away, Yan Nanji smiled with relief. Without Mobe as their backing, their quality of life would plummet. They might not even survive. After leaving the villa, Mobe drove straight toward the largest supply warehouse in Daru City. This depot belonged to the Tianqian Group. Originally, Mobe had planned to raid this place first, but it was too far, and since the Forbidden Zone opened, we temporarily gave up on it. Hopefully we aren't too late. But soon something completely unexpected happened. A fierce-looking old lady suddenly bolted into the road and lay down right in front of the truck. Clutching her legs, she groaned as if in absolute agony. She wailed and cursed nonstop, screaming out, "Oh, you hit me. Everyone look at this. You have to give me supplies as compensation." Mobe in the driver's seat just smirked. "Should we go down and handle this?" "No need." He slammed on the gas pedal, and the truck roared. The truck charged straight at the old lady. Ruthless times call for ruthless measures. We are in the middle of a dark apocalypse, yet she is still trying to scam people. That is straight-up suicide. After that minor hiccup, Mobe and his group successfully reached the warehouse. The security booth outside the front gate was completely empty. The sealed iron gate was heavily deformed, clearly broken open by immense force from the outside. It looked like someone had already beaten us to it. Mobe nodded, leading Yan Xiaotian deep into the warehouse. The massive shelves, which were once packed to the brim with survival gear and supplies, stood completely empty now. This huge building was practically cleared out, but up ahead, two men were hauling a massive shipping container. This was the exact kind of giant steel cargo box you normally see at shipping docks. There's no way normal humans could lift something this heavy. You normally need a massive crane to budge it. Yet these two, one in front and one behind, were effortlessly hoisting the giant metal crate right on their shoulders. Clearly, they were no ordinary humans. As they headed outside, they spotted Mobe and Yan Xiaotian appearing out of nowhere, and both of them instantly froze for a second. "Are you the extra help?" Boss Chow sent one of them. Grunted. "You mean..." Chow Menglong Mobe replied immediately, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Talk about a wild coincidence. Running into Chow Menglong's crew here meant all the missing warehouse supplies had likely been cleared out by that guy too. Hearing Mobe carelessly use their boss's full name, the two heavy lifters realized these intruders were enemies. They dropped the heavy cargo container instantly, and the metal box hit the ground with a massive, dull thud. Both men instantly transformed into beasts, locking into combat mode. The front guy sprouted furry ears while sharp fangs slid down from his gums, and the other man's body ballooned into a literal mountain of flesh. In Dragon Country, pork is a favorite food. So when the dark apocalypse hit, countless survivors awakened as pig-type spirit beast warriors. Take this brute right here. His physical defense was totally maxed out, but Mobe did not care, asking bluntly, "Tell me where Chow Menglong is." Even though the boss had already disclosed his base's coordinates, it never hurt to double-check and play it safe. "You want Boss Cow, fight me first, punk. Today I will teach you a lesson with my superpower." The giant pig-like beast warrior roared and charged directly at Mobe. Even though Yan Xiaotian had witnessed Mobe's terrifying power in combat before, this tense standoff still made him anxious. Mobe just sighed, shaking his head. Midnight black wings erupted from his back, launching a single feather like a bullet. With a sharp whistle, the feather tore straight through the mountain of flesh as violent electricity erupted with a deafening blast, leaving the beast dead on the spot. Handling the threat effortlessly, Mobe turned his cold gaze toward the partner. "Where is Chow Menglong? Do not kill me, I will talk. I will tell you everything." The man shrieked as a yellow fluid began dripping down his pants onto the concrete floor, releasing a foul, nauseating stench. Mobe recoiled in disgust. "He is hiding near 5-Star Garden inside apartment 2888 at Xingyun Apartments." Mobe casually reached back, plucked a dark feather, and flicked his wrist. The feather zipped through the air like a lethal arrow, piercing the thug directly between his eyes. He slumped over dead, with a frozen look of horror on his face. "Let us head to 5-Star Garden," Mobe said, retracting his wings. Yan Xiaotian could only nod in stunned silence, following closely behind. This young man was insanely powerful. He knew that as long as he stuck with Mobe, he would survive any nightmare. Despite knowing they were walking straight into Chow Menglong's dangerous territory, Yan Xiaotian felt absolutely no fear. Without looking back, the pair walked out of the empty warehouse and climbed back inside their vehicle. They punched in the destination and hit the road. Fortunately, in these early days of global collapse, the mobile network was still online. Five Star Garden was nearby, taking less than 30 minutes to reach. Along the route, Mo Bei and Yan Xiaotian drove past dozens of looted grocery stores and abandoned shopping malls, spewing thick plumes of black smoke. The distant shockwaves of street battles echoed around them, but Mo Bei ignored the chaos. Neutralizing Chao Menglong was his only objective right now. At Five Star Garden, Mo Bei had barely parked their car when a muscular man in a leather jacket puffing on a cigar led a massive squad of thugs out of the apartment. "Are you Cao Menglong?" Mo Bei asked. "It is you," Cao Menglong sneered instantly, recognizing the teenager's cold voice. This punk had slaughtered 5 of his men. Cao Menglong thought the kid was bluffing, never expecting him to show up here. Worse for them, they had brought only 2 people, while his crew had 8 elite fighters, including himself. All of them awakened spirit beast warriors. Get ready to fight. Kill this son of a bitch. Whoever takes him down first gets 3 full cases of canned beef. Hearing that the syndicate lackeys went absolutely wild, their eyes lighting up as if they had just been injected with pure adrenaline. They roared in excitement, their glares turning predatory. Suddenly, they unleashed their beast forms all at once, sprouting traits of wild pigs, dogs, rabid bulls, and vicious sheep. "Mo Bei, are we going to be all right?" Yan Xiaotian asked. Even though he trusted his allies' power, facing an entire squad of bloodthirsty spirit beast warriors was terrifying. Their combined aura and beast form felt suffocating. Yan Xiaotian grew increasingly anxious. Mo Bei said nothing, keeping his razor-sharp gaze locked onto the gang leader. He did not activate his own beast form, silently calculating their exit routes. To Chao Menglong, however, this calculated silence looked like sheer terror. The boss burst into a loud laugh and bellowed, "Attack!" Charging ahead, he threw a devastating punch straight at Mo Bei. Undaunted, Mo Bei instantly countered, throwing a punch of his own. Their knuckles collided with a heavy crash, sending phantom sparks flying through the air. Neither fighter yielded an inch. At the exact moment of impact, Cao Menglong's arms became encased in thick, shimmering fish-scale armor. "Haha, my ability gives me impenetrable scales." Noting Mo Bei's silence, Cao Menglong grew even more cocky. "Cross me, and you will regret it for the rest of your days." Witnessing their boss dominate the surrounding lackeys immediately started cheering and sucking up to him. "Boss Cao is incredible, crush him. It looks like we will not even have to lift a finger. The boss can slaughter this arrogant little brat all by himself." Yan Xiaotian pressed his lips tight in worry. Mo Bei's face remained expressionless. Blood swirled on his shoulder, suddenly shaping into a ferocious eel head. The electric eel's eyes flashed with blinding light before it opened its bloody razor-toothed jaws, clamping down hard on Cao Menglong's forearm. The gang leader did not even flinch, confident that his impenetrable scales would block any attack. But to his absolute horror, the moment those fangs sunk in, they sliced through the armor like warm butter, piercing deeply into his raw flesh. Instantly, an intense vacuum force took hold, rapidly draining the lifeblood straight out of his body. Chao Menglong panicked, realizing Mo Bei was an absolute monster. He desperately tried to retreat, but Mo Bei clamped both hands onto his shoulders, locking him in place as his blood drained continuously. Chao Menglong's face drained of color, an icy chill creeping through his limbs. Once the man was completely hollowed out, Mo Bei felt a massive surge of vital energy flood back into his veins. The monstrous eel head on his shoulder took on a dark reddish hue. "Wait, is he really dead?" Yan Xiaotian muttered, completely shocked, to watch Mo Bei drain Chao Menglong. The visual impact was terrifying as Chao Menglong's shriveled, mummified corpse hit the ground. His cheering henchmen froze in sheer shock. Their powerful boss had been completely fine just 1 second ago, and now he was a shriveled corpse. What on earth was happening? That kid from the mortal world wasn't even human. Flee. That was the exact same thought everyone shared in that instant. They bolted, not even dreaming of fighting back. Mo Bei simply watched them run, completely expressionless. Suddenly, a dark wing erupted from his back once more. But after feeding on Chao Menglong's blood, those black wings now gleamed with crimson. In a flash, several sharp feathers shot out simultaneously, ruthlessly tearing through the fleeing thugs. It was a brutal one-sided slaughter. Mobe ended the conflict, instantly leaving Yan Xiaotian staring at him in complete stunned silence. The heavy scent of copper filled her nose, making her nauseous. Yet Yan Xiaotian knew this was the reality now. In a lawless world, such brutality was normal. Watching her, Mobe felt a hint of surprise. He never expected a pampered rich girl like Yan Xiaotian to keep her composure so well. It is over. The supplies are inside the building. Tell the workers to get down and start loading everything. Yan Xiaotian nodded, opened the truck bed and called out to the crew to get to work. As they entered the hideout, they discovered Chao Menglong's massive stash of provisions. The exhausted workers were absolutely thrilled at the sight of such a fortune. They moved the boxes with extreme caution, terrified of damaging anything. Every single package was handled like glass, filled with precious food rations and essential survival items. In this brutal apocalypse, these resources were worth far more than gold or diamonds. To guarantee a safe trip, Mobe oversaw the transport personally. But just as they hit the road, disaster struck. A massive, terrifying creature suddenly blocked their path standing, revealed as a heavily mutated stray dog. Its fur resembled sharp silver needles, and its powerful limbs dug deep into the pavement. Leaning low, it growled, completely barricading the truck's path. Seeing the beast prepare to spring, Mobe did not hesitate. He threw the door open and stepped out. The instant his feet hit the pavement, 8 more monstrous creatures emerged from the dark alleys nearby. All of them had transformed from stray dogs, which made sense since most urban monsters were once ordinary domestic pets. The pack prepared to swarm him together. Unleashing his dark wings, Mobe launched himself into the sky and fired a barrage of lethal feathers downward. They instantly impaled the monsters. Controlling the feathers from a distance, Mobe unleashed a powerful siphoning force, causing the beast's massive bodies to rapidly shrink and shrivel into husks. In mere seconds, they were dry. Meanwhile, Mobe felt a surge of raw strength pulsing through his veins as if he had returned to his absolute prime. Every bit of spent energy was restored. Calmly, he approached the shriveled remains of the beasts and searched them. Soon he pulled out a few glowing transparent cores. These crystal cores stored the concentrated vital power source of the mutated creatures. Normally, absorbing them boosts your strength, but requires hours of slow, careful refinement, just like melting down steel. But Mobe was different. A sharp maw manifested in his palm, instantly devouring the crystal cores. As pure energy rushed through his veins, his user interface updated with a new status. Name Mobe. Mutation level 3. Bloodline level none. Gene sequence number 9-00527. He stared at his level. It had jumped straight to level 3. But what did bloodline level mean, and why was his currently empty? Shrugging it off, Mobe hopped back into the vehicle and drove away with Yan Xiaotian. After 6 grueling rounds of hauling provisions, they finally packed the villa's storage vault to capacity. Looking at the horde, Yan Nanji beamed with joy, his wrinkles stretching with relief. With this, they could not only survive, but actually live in luxury. His respect grew even deeper after hearing Yan Xiaotian explain how Mobe had easily eliminated Chao Menglong and his crew. Yan Nanji was thoroughly impressed. "My young friend, with this stash, we can live comfortably for 2 or 3 years. We are safe for now," the old man said, smiling. But Mobe shook his head. The more resources, the better. No one ever complained about having too much food. Besides, Mobe had his own agenda. He planned to scavenge and hoard every single resource within a 10-kilometer radius, using his formidable abilities to fight off any opposition. Throughout the day, he stripped local warehouses and malls empty, working until sunset. As for the survival of other people, he honestly did not care. It had nothing to do with him. In this cruel era, self-preservation was all that mattered. At night, Daru City grew incredibly dangerous, and citizens hid indoors terrified of the mutated beasts. They huddled in their dark rooms, but Mobe's villa was a completely different world, brightly lit and filling the air with the mouth-watering scent of grilled meat. Under Mobe's direction, a lavish apocalyptic barbecue was underway. The rich, savory aroma of roasting meat slowly drifted out beyond the gates, filling the cold air of the entire neighborhood and catching the attention of many starving onlookers. Soon, an uninvited visitor showed up at their gate, a middle-aged man wearing a business suit. "Please, sir, I haven't eaten a hot meal in days. Can you spare some food? I'm begging you." Seeing the pathetic visitor, Yan Nanzi immediately grinned broadly. This man was his former business rival. The Huang group he ran was only slightly smaller than Yan's Tianshan group. After hearing Mobe warn him about the coming chaos, Yan Nanji chose to play it safe. He immediately fortified his estate and sent out buyers to stockpile massive amounts of food. Back then, this very competitor had mocked him relentlessly, claiming he had lost his mind. He ridiculed a billionaire CEO who abandoned his corporate operations just to hoard canned goods. "Well, Boss Huang, you surely remember laughing at me for stockpiling food, right? I am literally starving to death. Old friend, please, I beg you. The great CEO of the Huang Group has no food. Don't joke with me." "Ha ha. I really don't have any left. All the food in my house was stolen. I won't take yours for free either. I will trade for it." With that, Huang Jianming unclasped his watch and offered it to Yan Nanzi. "Come on, Boss Huang. You know, luxury watches are completely useless now. I have elite sports cars and exotic supercars sitting in my garage right now. I will give them all to you. Yan Nanji turned to look at Mobe. My young friend, you secured this hoard. What do you say? Then let us not give him anything, Mobe replied. Yan Nanji shrugged and faced Huang. And Ming, are you even human? Are you really leaving me to die? At that moment, other wealthy bosses from inside the villa began stepping outside. They gathered around, staring hungrily at the delicious food. They were all running dangerously low on supplies. We are all human. How can you be so cold-blooded? Yan Nanji's muscles swelled violently instantly, transforming him into a massive muscular minotaur. Hot steam hissed from his nostrils as a deafening roar suddenly shattered the tense air. The sound nearly ruptured everyone's eardrums. Terrified, the crowd scattered in a wild panic. Once they vanished, Yan Nanji looked back and chuckled. I started from nothing. Most of these guys are wealthy local merchants from elite families. When I first built my business, they targeted me constantly. They nearly forced me to sell my company. I never dreamed I would get the chance to pay them back. It feels amazing. Mobe just smiled at his words. He understood that feeling completely. After this brief drama, the barbecue feast continued, but Mobe went upstairs to his bedroom early to get some rest. Lying down with his hands behind his head, Mobe mapped out his future plans. Now that they had the necessary materials to reinforce the entire villa and stockpiles of supplies were overflowing, his top priority was boosting his own power. Down in the yard, everyone was slowly savoring their hard-earned barbecue feast. Yan Nanji leaned close to Yan Xiaochen. Xiaochen, be honest with me. Do you like Mobe? Yan Xiaochen put down her glass, blushing deeply, and whispered, Dad, what are you talking about? Admitting a crush on Mobe was far too embarrassing for her. Her father continued, I think Mobe is a great guy. He is strong and a brilliant strategist. If you like him, you should lock him down as quickly as possible. That gives us a much better shot at surviving this chaos. Actually, I do have a good feeling about Mobe. Before she could finish, Yan Nanji pushed her toward the villa. Go to his room right now. Hurry up, win him over, and make it official. Yan Nanji urged seriously. A look of total confusion washed over Yan Xiaochen's beautiful face. Just as she stood there frozen, a Cadillac pulled up right outside the front gate. A blonde teenager stepped out his face, lighting up with excitement upon seeing her. Yan Xiaotian frowned instantly upon recognizing the guest. Yan Nanji's face also gradually darkened as he stared. He knew this blonde kid all too well. He was one of Yan Xiaochen's suitors. Uncle Yan, you are here too. Perfect. I am a spirit beast warrior now. I came here specifically to confess my love to Xiaochen. I am definitely good enough for your daughter. Now, ignoring Yan Nanji's furious glare, Li Qingshan opened his trunk and took out several shabby cans of food from inside. What's more, every single one was expired. Take them, Uncle Yan Xiaochen. Grab some. How about this as my betrothal gift? For marrying, Xiaochen times have changed, and I am definitely nothing like the weak person I used to be now. Yan Xiaochen turned her head, her eyes burning with angry tears. She was not touched at all. She was absolutely furious. Being chased by this idiot felt humiliating. Yan Nanji stood in front of Yan Xiaoqian to protect her. Li Qingshan sneered, I advise you to calm down. After all, I am now a superior spirit beast warrior. If you are that angry, go ahead and hit me. I will let you hit me 3 times to make you feel better. Yan Nanji was already on the very verge of losing his temper. Hearing Li Qingshan's nonsense, he snapped. Instantly, his body transformed into a 3-meter-tall muscular minotaur. His entire body radiated a fierce aura. If you can take 3 punches from me, I'll marry Xiaochen to you. Seeing this scene, the smug Li Qingshan was stunned. Turns out you are a spirit beast warrior too. Fine, let's do what you said. Take 3 punches. I'll marry Xiaochen to you. Yan Nanji growled, gritting his teeth. Li Qingshan quickly stammered. We are civilized people. A gentleman uses his tongue, not his fists. Since you don't welcome me, I'll leave. But Uncle Yan, I'll treat Xiaochen well. After all, she is just an ordinary human and won't suffer with me. I'll keep her happy and fed. Get the hell out of here. Yan Nanji roared, immediately flying into a rage. He grabbed the nearby barbecue grill and threw it straight at the Cadillac. There was a loud crash. The Cadillac dented badly. When Li Qingshan saw this, a frantic thought flashed through his mind. Li Qingshan grabbed his pile of expired cans and fled in a panic, glancing back as he ran. Yan Nanji wished he had wings, otherwise he'd fly up and tear that kid apart. Watching him leave, Yan Nanji, shrunk to normal, looked at Xiaochen and said, Xiaochen, you must seriously consider Mobe. It's best to make your move early. She didn't resist this idea at all, only feeling a sudden rush of nervousness. She nodded. Dad, they say spirit beast warriors have way better physiques than normal humans. Does that go for that aspect too? Mob is so strong and powerful, I don't know if I can handle it. Soon Yan Xiaoqian shook her head to clear her mind. She was the aloof campus belle. What on earth was she thinking? Meanwhile, the villa's upgrades were finished. Every single corner down to the underground foundation was now encased in adamantium. Even if hit by a missile, it absolutely couldn't break through the defenses. Even if besieged by spirit beast warriors, the villa would remain completely intact. Mob called the Yan father and daughter over and said, "Now we need to boost our strength quickly. The best way is to have outsiders hunt mutated magic beasts to obtain their crystal cores. Besides, I need to absorb a large number of crystal cores to prepare for the next forbidden area exploration. You can take the supplies we prepared and trade with people. In this apocalypse, strength is the only thing that matters." Hearing this, the father and daughter spread the news just as Mob instructed. It quickly caused a massive sensation. After all, in the apocalypse, having food is more important than anything else. Yan Xiaoqian had been looking preoccupied lately. She recalled her father's advice to her. Mob was excellent. He was extremely powerful, and on top of that, super handsome. A man like him in this dark, chaotic era was definitely a shining gem. If Mob wanted a massive harem, was only a matter of time. No, I must make a move as soon as possible and lock things down. But she had always been known as the aloof campus belle. Even when keeping a cold face, she never lacked suitors. Now, asking her to confess to Mob or take the first step to lock the relationship down she was completely lost in her own wild thoughts, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, several cars pulled up outside the villa and a few figures stepped out, carrying heavy snakeskin bags packed with crystals from mutated beasts. Inside, Mobe had already spotted them on the security cameras monitoring the perimeter. He opened the door immediately and stepped outside. The moment they saw Mobe, they became incredibly polite. They knew he was a ruthless powerhouse. "Please do not get us wrong, we mean no harm. We only want to trade for survival supplies. These are all crystals from the beasts we hunted." Seeing Mobe remain completely silent, the leader quickly gestured toward the snakeskin bags to explain. Mobe cast a brief glance. There were at least a dozen glowing crystals inside. Shifting his gaze away, Mobe ordered his people to bring out the trading goods. After securing the crystals, he headed back inside. Once in the living room, he handed Yan Xiaotian and her father a single crystal each to absorb. He was not being stingy. For normal beast warriors, channeling this energy was an incredibly exhausting process. Just one crystal would take them days to fully process. Lately, Mobe had explained the true power of these stones, so they already understood the potential. They knew these could elevate their power, so they began absorbing them immediately. Meanwhile, Mobe rested a crystal in his hand. A small dark vortex materialized on his palm, instantly swallowing the stone. The mutated energy was completely consumed. Seeing that Mobe had already finished off every single crystal from 2 massive bags, the father and daughter stood frozen in pure shock. They were utterly baffled. We are all beast warriors, so how is the difference between us? This massive... The guy was a literal monster. The following days passed quietly. Survivors frequently arrived to trade crystals for food, and Mobe never turned a single person away. After all, his stockpiles were massive. Even if the entire city showed up to trade, he could easily manage it. Naturally, he absorbed the vast majority of the crystals himself. His power steadily climbed, finally reaching level 9. Feeling the surge of raw physical energy, Mobe quietly muttered to himself, "Upgrading my core strength is great, but I am far more interested in devouring new genes. I just wonder when the next slot will unlock." Outside, the night slowly began to fall. Mobe retired to his bedroom early to rest. Soon, faint footsteps echoed outside his door. The handle turned, and a slender figure in pajamas tiptoed into the dark room. Had a thief breached the security, or was an enemy seeking revenge? Since it clearly was not an intruder, and definitely not an assassin, who could it be? Who was creeping into his room so stealthily, Mobe got his answer immediately. It was Yan Xiaotian. As she quietly approached his bed, Mobe caught the familiar, delicate scent of her perfume. She was no longer acting like the aloof campus queen. In the shadows, her cheeks burned red as she stood frozen beside his bed. She tried to steady her breathing mentally, urging herself to be brave, but her heart was hammering wildly against her ribs. "Over the past few weeks, I have genuinely fallen for Mobe. He saved my whole family. If he had not killed that giant electric eel, my dad and I would be dead. Saving a life deserved the ultimate reward." Steeling her resolve, she took a daring step. Tossing aside her usual reservations, she lifted the edge of Mobe's blanket and slid quietly into bed beside him. Mobe, who was only feigning sleep with his eyes shut, was utterly shocked. He initially wondered if she meant him harm, perhaps plotting some betrayal. He was even prepared to trigger his beast transformation to defend himself. But this was completely unexpected. "What are you doing?" Yan Xiaotian had just settled in, trying to quiet her pounding heart, when his voice shattered the silence. She let out a soft gasp. Her cheeks instantly burned hot with embarrassment, but then she thought, "I have already come this far. I cannot back out now." Catching Maubei completely off guard, she suddenly turned around and wrapped her arms around him. Before he could speak, she pressed her soft lips to his. That night, gentle moonlight spilled across the floor, unable to pierce the deep warmth of their shared embrace. Maubei woke up early the next morning, feeling fully recharged. Yan Xiaotian, however, remained fast asleep until nearly midday, and walked with a noticeably awkward stride. The morning mood in the living room was tense. Under her father's knowing gaze, her face flushed red as she wished the ground would swallow her whole. Her father, however, was secretly thrilled. Seeking to break the silence, Maubei suddenly spoke up. "Good morning, Boss Yan." "My young friend Maubei, whatever you kids do is none of my business. I am just an old man and have no desire to interfere. Just handle things as you see fit." Another crowd of survivors arrived to trade for supplies that morning. Maubei nodded, popped open the briefcase of crystal cores, and began absorbing them. In mere moments, they were gone. "Congratulations, host, your power has reached level 10. You have earned one devour opportunity. New features unlocked. You can now devour mutated beasts, plants, and insects." Still, Maubei did not fully understand bloodline levels. But none of that mattered today. With a fresh devour opportunity that included mutated beasts, flora, and insects, his options were suddenly far more diverse. His priority now was locating the resurrection device. That legendary gear was incredibly overpowered, granting the user a literal second life, though it was notoriously difficult to track down. In his past life, this treasure was claimed by Pang Dehai, the legendary master of Longhu Mountain. With its power, Pang later rose to become a top elite within Dragon Country. More importantly, Pang's divination skills could locate hidden treasures. Thus, Maubei had two immediate objectives: find a suitable target for his devour skill and recruit Pang Dehai to explore the dangerous second forbidden zone alongside him. Making up his mind, Maubei grabbed Yan Xiaotian and headed out to secure the legendary resurrection armor. Winning over the master of Longhu Mountain was absolutely critical. Leaving the villa behind, the two climbed into a sleek red Ferrari and sped off. Since they were not gathering massive supplies today, a heavy truck was completely unnecessary. Along the way, Yan Xiaotian asked about the true purpose of their journey. Considering her a trusted ally, Maubei kept no secrets. He explained Pang Dehai's divination powers and the hidden resurrection gear in the second forbidden zone in clear detail. Yan Xiaotian was utterly stunned. "Is not that literally a resurrection armor?" "I cannot believe items like that exist," she mused, recalling how the apocalypse had already transformed beasts, plants, and insects into horrifying monsters. Suddenly, a magic armor did not seem so impossible. The drive went smoothly with virtually no traffic. Within 2.5 hours, they arrived safely at Longhu Mountain, though Maubei was in no mood to enjoy the scenery. He pulled up right outside the Taoist temple gates. The moment they stepped out of the car, the heavy wooden doors creaked open. A chubby man wearing traditional Taoist robes emerged, rubbing his sleepy eyes. He let out a wide yawn and muttered that they could trade any supplies for incense, especially food. Without warning, Maubei lunged forward, launching a fist straight at Pang Dehai's face. The chubby Taoist gasped, asking what he was doing. Maubei didn't say a word, simply stretching his limbs. Just as the blow was about to land, a terrified Pang Dehai dropped to his knees. He begged Maubei to spare his life, promising anything if the beatings stopped. Beside them, Yan Xiaotian watched in utter disbelief, blinking her large eyes. She was totally baffled. Sensing an opening while they were distracted, Pang Dehai scrambled up and bolted deep into the temple, cursing Maubei for bullying an innocent man. Sure, the legendary Taoist masters of Longhu Mountain practiced ancient physical cultivation, but those mortal exercises were a joke compared to the raw strength of a spirit beast warrior. Besides, a master's true power lies in talisman magic. But having just rolled out of bed, he was wearing nothing but a flimsy robe, completely empty-handed. He muttered threats about making Maubei beg for mercy once he armed himself. But the moment his fingers gripped his sacred papers, his confidence surged back. That smug grin vanished instantly. Maubei merely spared a glance at the stack of magic papers, and a sharp feather launched from his back, piercing straight through them. These were priceless high-level relics left by ancient masters now ruined. Gulping, Pang Dehai squeaked, asking if they could pretend he was just joking. Maubei offered no reply, only heavy fists. He needed to ensure this eccentric Taoist was fully submissive and reliable, which meant giving him a thorough lesson. The thrashing dragged on for a solid 30 minutes. Pang Dehai's throat went entirely hoarse from screaming, his bruised body turning completely numb under the relentless assault. Barely feeling the pain anymore, he begged for a truce. Mobe finally stopped explaining that the second forbidden area was opening soon and he needed his divination skills. Mobe promised to pay him well with supplies. Catching on instantly, Yan Xiaotian walked out to the car and hauled back several massive crates. They had unloaded them from the Ferrari. Staring at the bounty, Peng Dehai grumbled that he would have agreed immediately if he had known there was this much food. With a mountain of survival resources right in front of him, he had absolutely no reason to refuse. Mobe laid down his terms: cooperate or get beaten until he did. Peng Dehai's jaw twitched, his head spinning. He realized this brute was utterly overflowing with testosterone, a textbook case of some extreme supermale syndrome. The guy would throw hands over any minor disagreement. Sighing, he agreed, admitting his divination could indeed pinpoint the locations of hidden treasures. He promised to help. The negotiation went surprisingly smooth, proving Mobe's brute force approach was highly effective. Once the fat Taoist packed up, they left. They sped away from Longhu Mountain, arriving back at the luxury villa 2.5 hours later. As the Ferrari parked, Mobe broke the silence. He warned him that the second zone would unlock soon, so he should stay put. For now, he just needed to rest, eat, and build up his strength. The priest nodded blankly. Once their guest was settled, Mobe and Yan Xiaotian met up with Yan Nanji to brief her on the day's events as evening approached. Dinner was served shortly after, and Peng Dehai joined the table. While Mobe ate with quiet, disciplined composure, the fat Taoist was inhaling his food like a literal hurricane. Before Mobe could even lift his own chopsticks, the serving platters on the table were practically licked clean. Yananji watched this chaotic feast in utter bewilderment. She whispered, wondering if this guy was the reincarnation of Jubei. Mobe's mouth twitched. He began to question if this ridiculous fat guy was truly destined to become one of the top powerhouses of the country. But he shook the thought off. Right now, securing the legendary resurrection gear in the upcoming zone was his absolute priority. Plus, he still held a valuable unused devouring opportunity. He needed to trigger this evolution before the gates opened. At his current level, Mobe could assimilate mutated beast plants or even insects. The real question was which target would yield the highest power boost. Right then, a sudden breaking news broadcast flashed across the living room television. An unkillable mutated cockroach had overrun the main research institute in Daru City. Desperate, the local military was actively broadcasting a public plea for help. Live footage showed the chaos inside the facility. A pitch-black cockroach, easily the size of a small kitten, was darting frantically across the laboratory floors. The entire place was in shambles. No matter what the scientists threw at the massive insect, it was useless. In the background, soldiers began firing weapons. Despite unloading automatic rifles and blasting it with heavy fire, the bullets simply deflected harmlessly off the creature's thick, metallic black shell. It was crazy to think even household pests were mutating now. The military, resorting to the internet for help, showed just how desperate they truly were. Yan Nanji clicked her tongue in disbelief. If the armed forces were openly begging civilians for assistance on the internet, they had clearly run completely out of options. Fortunately, only visible life forms were evolving. If microscopic bacteria and viruses mutated into deadly beasts, the entire planet would quickly turn into a living hell. Human civilization wouldn't survive. Mobe narrowed his eyes, suddenly standing up. Any creature capable of shrugging off automatic gunfire and military forces was far from ordinary. He realized this beast was the perfect target to assimilate. Announcing his departure, he decided to head straight to the research institute himself. He ordered everyone to remain inside the villa, telling them to wait for his return before making any moves. Yan Nanji stared at him in pure shock. She never expected this ruthless warrior, who usually obliterated his foes without mercy, to show a helpful side. Meanwhile, Peng Dehai remained completely unfazed, shoveling food into his mouth. He urged Mobe not to worry about them and promised to stay put, telling him to return safely. Mobe simply gave a firm nod. He jumped into the Ferrari and roared away, heading straight for the facility. In this country, such research centers were classified heavily guarded military zones. Armed guards patrolled the perimeters constantly. Any civilian caught wandering too close would face immediate warnings or be dragged off to a police station for interrogation. But in the wake of the dark apocalypse, those old rules were completely void. Inside, a frantic researcher yelled to the director that backup had finally arrived. After bringing him over, the staff led Mobe into an office, calling out excitedly to the figure ahead. On the leather sofa sat a curvy woman. A white lab coat was draped over her, revealing nothing but long, pale legs. She looked thrilled at the news, but seeing only Mobe, her face instantly fell. Disappointed, she muttered, "Only one person." "Yeah, only this guy," the staff member sighed. She stood up and walked over. A faint, pleasant scent hit Mobe, and he realized how stunning she was. "Let me introduce myself. I'm Shen Kulin." She offered her hand. Mobe hesitated, a strange look on his face. If he remembered correctly, she was incredibly capable. "I'm Mobe," he replied. She smiled. "Thank you for coming to help us, but this cockroach is no ordinary mutated beast. We estimate it is only primary level, but all our spirit beast warriors working together cannot defeat it. Since you are willing to help, please stay safe." "Let's cut the crap. Since I dared to come, I won't hold you back." With that, Shen Kulin personally led Mobe to the laboratory. The lab was a total disaster. The reinforced walls were covered in impact craters. It was a horrific sight with several spirit beast warriors on edge. They were still teaming up to fight the creature. Completely unharmed despite the heavy onslaught, the mutated cockroach suddenly froze, then pivoted. It charged straight at Mobe. What the hell? Stunned, his pupils shrank as he cursed. A giant half-meter-long cockroach was lunging right at him. In a bizarre posture, who wouldn't be terrified, Mobe thought. Forget the crowd, even the gorgeous director Shen Kulin was standing right beside him. Yet this monster singled him out. Mobe had no clue why. Shen Kulin reacted instantly, but she was not a spirit beast warrior and could not help. The chaotic room fell into an eerie silence. Everyone stared at Mobe, assuming he was finished. After a brief second of pure shock, he prepared. He was about to trigger his beast form, but then a jaw-dropping thing happened. The mutated cockroach did not attack. It simply landed before him. It prostrated itself on the floor, making strange crunching noises. It seemed to be submitting to him. What on earth was going on? Mobe scratched his head. "Are you submitting to me?" he asked. The mutated cockroach let out a low growl as if responding to him. Though he couldn't understand the growl, Mobe saw it lowering its body even further. It was definitely submitting. The mutated insect had yielded. It had truly submitted to him. What on earth was happening? Everyone in the lab, including Shen Kulin and the researchers, was completely dumbfounded. The unbelievable scene blew their minds. "Director Shen, it looks like it's solved. I'll take this cockroach away." Mutated beasts did not just submit to humans, they could also understand speech. Mobe left the laboratory with the creature. Finding a secluded corner, Mobe turned to the beast. "Can you actually understand what I'm saying?" The cockroach let out a low growl. It nodded its flat head slightly in response. "Since you've submitted, I'm going to devour you now. Do you have a problem with that?" Making a series of panicked crunching noises, the cockroach turned and bolted. Its 8 legs moved so fast they left blurry after images. It seemed that despite submitting, it still possessed its own consciousness rather than being a brainless puppet. Mobe sighed as black wings spread from his back. Entering his beast form, he unleashed 2 lightning-infused feathers at high speed. The fleeing cockroach was instantly engulfed in a crackling electric current. Ignoring its struggles, Mobe flapped his wings and flew ahead. Swooping down toward the paralyzed cockroach, he bit its head clean off in one swift motion. He devoured it completely. "Congratulations, host. You have successfully devoured the mutated cockroach. Gene sequence extraction successful. You have successfully evolved into a Linksu warrior, gaining a powerful danger perception ability." A Linksu warrior. The name sounded weird, but Mobe cared more about the danger perception. Activating his new gene, 2 thin, long antennae popped from his head. "Isn't this basically a twin-tail warrior?" Mobe's mouth twitched in sheer embarrassment. Up until this point in time, each gene sequence he devoured had changed his body, like the Maoyong mouthparts on his palm, the black falcon wings, or the electric eel on his shoulder. But he never expected that devouring a cockroach would sprout actual antennae on his head. Suddenly, his physical senses were amplified to an infinite degree. No tiny movement around him could escape his perception. Suddenly sensing a dangerous aura, he instinctively leaped to the side. The tree behind him twisted as a 2.5-meter-long giant chameleon revealed itself. Mobe was momentarily startled by the sight. It must have been lurking there all along unnoticed. Furious that its ambush had failed, the chameleon let out a deafening roar. It lunged forward with all 4 limbs charging directly at Mobe. He saw its movements in slow motion, perfectly predicting its path. He slammed his palm against the chameleon's belly. Instantly, countless teeth spun like a meat grinder, shredding its flesh. The beast shrieked in agony. Its internal organs were ripped out and shredded instantly. An instant kill. Mobe stared at his blood-soaked palm in disbelief. It took him a moment to snap out of it, replaced by pure joy. These antennae were incredibly useful. With them, he would dominate any fight. The clear sky above Daru City suddenly darkened, blanketed by heavy storm clouds. A massive black pillar of light shot into the heavens. Countless people across Daru City witnessed this spectacular, terrifying sight. The second forbidden area had officially opened. Mobe squinted eyes sparkling with excitement. Before his rebirth, he was just an ordinary guy forced to watch others claim all the treasures. But now he would claim it all. Rushing back to his villa, he shouted, "Xiao Tian Nan, Jia Fa Di Hai, move out. A great opportunity is here. We have to get there immediately." When they arrived at the site, a massive crowd had already gathered. So many people are here already. Are they all spirit beast warriors? Yep. Normal people wouldn't dare show their faces here right now. Everyone here is a spirit beast warrior without a doubt. After all, normal people don't even dare step outside these days. And even among the spirit beast warriors, nobody's making a reckless move, Mobei said calmly. We will face plenty of danger once we step inside. You all need to protect yourselves, Mobei warned, casting a quick glance over at Xiaotian and the others, before stepping into the vortex first. Yan, Xiaotian, Fatty Hai, and the rest exchanged nervous looks, then bit the bullet and followed him in. After Mobei and his group passed through, the world ahead shifted entirely. A crimson blood moon suddenly materialized in the dark sky right above them. Fatty, it is time for you. The Longhu Mountain Heavenly Master to show off your skills. Haha, just watch me. Our Longhu Mountain has never feared anyone. Do not worry. Fatty Hai patted his chest confidently, then pulled a compass from his pocket. Balancing it in his left hand, he formed a spell seal with his right and began calculating. A moment later, Fatty Hai suddenly snapped his gaze in one direction. That way, the greatest treasure in this forbidden zone is over there. If we keep going this way, we will find it. Mobei nodded. As expected of a Longhu Mountain Heavenly Master, you really have real skills. Soon they stood before a massive altar. The altar was as massive as a football field. The surrounding fog was actually pushed back by an invisible force. In the center of the altar stood a high platform covered in delicate, complex patterns, carved into the stone platform, radiating a faint, eerie vibe. Right above the high platform, 6 crosses were erected, each holding a distinct suit of armor. The armor was pitch black, overall with a strange power surging across its surface. A light blue gem was embedded in the center, also carved with mysterious complex runes. This is the spot. The greatest treasure here has to be those suits of armor on the crosses. Resurrection tier gear, we actually found it. Without a moment's hesitation, Mobei unfurled the black wings on his back and soared toward the high platform. But right then, things took a sudden turn. A deafening roar shattered the silent night sky. Emerging from the thick fog, a massive monster crashed down before the altar, blocking Mobei's path. Though shrouded in heavy fog, the beast's hulking muscles were still clearly visible. In its hand, it brandished a massive trident, burning with eerie blue flames. It is a dark creature. This beast standing before us is a dark creature, but not just any ordinary one. This is an elite tier dark creature, and judging from the aura it emits, its level is already intermediate. Mobei could feel that it was a level 20 being. Of course, getting his hands on these resurrection armors wouldn't be easy with such a formidable dark creature guarding them. But with a level 20 monster blocking the way, how did Fatty in his past life ever get those resurrection armors?